I grew up with a lot of architects.
Right.
Because in Kyiv, where I grew up, architectural firms were very big, and they included architects and engineers. It wasn't separate.
Right.
And they would have, unbelievable projects. Most of them didn't get built.
So I'm not alone. It's not just me.
No. A lot of projects don't get built.
Yeah. There's money coming in.
Architects had so much fun. Architects, and they did so much art. There were exhibits of art by architects, and we were members of Architects Club. I grew up with Architects Club. We had this art studio there.
Shalom, friends! Welcome to Orange Socks, a podcast celebrating Jewish creativity. I'm your host, Yitzchok Moully, inviting you to join me in exploring the soul of Jewish expression.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hair and makeup.
Hair and makeup.
You ready?
You do that? Socks?
I have my orange socks, absolutely.
Socks are here. So we're all set.
We're all set. Okay.
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shalom, friends, and welcome to the Orange Socks podcast. And I'm in for a treat, and so are you. I'm here in the home with Elena Kalman.
Yes.
Elena, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This is on somewhat short notice, even though I've been reaching out a few times.
While, yes.
So
but now it worked out.
now we're here. Now it worked
out.
out. Yes.
So we're good.
And creatively, you wear a whole lot of hats.
I do.
You do. And I came across your work actually as an architect. So for two different jobs. You've done work for my friend and your rabbi, Rabbi Levi Mendelo,
Yes.
Chabad of New Canaan.
Yes.
That's somewhat modest work. But really, what I've heard about your work is from Chabad of Basking Ridge, Malki Herson, that you've done tremendous work.
Thank you.
For and with her.
I also did Chabad here in Stamford.
The big book?
The big book.
That's you.
That's
and everything behind the big book.
And the book building.
The book
it
building.
It was fun.
Wow, okay.
It was fun. It was with Rabbi Darren.
Yes.
Rabbi
yes,
Darren.
yes.
Years ago. That was, I think it was my first Chabad.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I did a few of them.
So you have a Russian accent.
Absolutely.
You have a lot of history.
Oh.
So let's start. How did your creativity begin? You know, that architecture, it can also be more mechanical and more mathematical and that kind of side, but you're very much a visual artist as well as a architect. So how do those two
first of all, they are
together for
related,
you?
especially in education that I was getting, which is more of a Russian-Ukrainian School of Architecture. I went to Moscow Architectural Institute. I went to Kyiv Art Institute. In my understanding, and that's the understanding I was brought up with, these two disciplines are very much related. And
Is that the same in the US, that they're equally related?
No, in the US it really depends on the school. But I think that here it's somewhat less. Like I know some architects I worked with who do not even know how to sketch. I mean, really? There are people who are so connected to their computers that they don't know how to take a pencil and
make a mark.
They just don't. But in my upbringing, it was very much connected. And my mom was a structural engineer. She even taught she had PhD, she taught structural engineering. And
so you grew up with bridges in your backyard? So
I grew up, yes, kind of, not quite bridges, but yes. But yes. And I grew up with a lot of architects.
Right.
Because in Kyiv, where I grew up, architectural firms were very big, and they included architects and engineers. It wasn't separate.
Right.
And they would have, unbelievable projects. Most of them didn't get built.
So I'm not alone. It's not just me.
No. A lot of projects don't get built.
Yeah.
But
tell me
but
about it.
there it was almost like practically 10% gets built.
Was this a for-profit business, or was this a state-sponsored business?
Everything was at the time state sponsored.
So
And-
if it's state-sponsored, then you can afford to dream and
Absolutely.
not build anything.
Absolutely.
Because no matter what, there's money coming in.
Architects had so much fun. Architects, and they did so much art. There were exhibits of art by architects, and we were members of Architects Club. I grew up with Architects Club. We had this art studio there. We were doing all kinds of stuff
so
there. It was
different.
fun. It was fun.
That is fun.
It was a lot of fun. and it was on one hand, our training was kind of more academic.
Right.
We went through, as children, we went through drawing all kinds of Greek and Roman sculptures and all of that architectural ornamentation done in white, what is it, gypsum? I guess it is,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
But so we went through that. But then starting 14 years old, we were already doing live models.
Okay.
So I went through so many naked bodies in my life. Studying
Right,
how
right.
the body
Anatomy
works and how
right.
it,
Yeah.
And it was
Classical fine art training.
classical fine art training, and it was all relating to architecture, because in classical architecture, proportions of the body relate to proportions of the buildings.
Right. So from 14, you knew you wanted to be an architect?
I knew I was going to be an architect, whether I
No matter
wanted
what.
or not.
Whether you wanted.
When I was born, because my
You were
mother,
born as an architect.
my mother was a structural engineer, but she was reluctant structural engineer.
She really wanted to be an architect.
Well, she really wanted to be a theater critic. She was into theater. She
Right.
wanted to be, but her more practical parents turned her towards
Right.
that. Now, I was drawing since I was very little. My more practical parents turned me towards architecture.
Okay.
So that's how it worked.
But reluctantly?
Well, maybe not, I don't know. But I know that when I was in high school, right, I could continue with just art, right? And my father insisted, he said, because I was very much involved in that art studio that I was a part of in Architects Club. It was a good art studio. So I was kind of like, we had, that art studio was giving you art school diploma kind of.
Right.
So I could go through that and forget it. But my father insisted that in parallel, I have to go to high school for math and science.
Right.
Because as a Jewish kid, there is absolutely no way I will become an artist. There is like state is at that time,
Right,
I was growing up still in Soviet times.
Right.
So art was very much what's considered ideological front.
Right.
And ideological front was closed for Jewish people. So ideological front was closed.
Right.
Architecture.
How is that almost propaganda or not yet propaganda?
Propaganda.
That was
ideological front is propaganda. That's what it is.
So all artists.
Social realism. You could be a social realist and do propaganda art, or you could be underground artist and exhibit art in your kitchen for your friends and family.
So that you could do.
That I could do.
Right.
Yeah, but otherwise,
Okay,
no.
so that was art. As an artist within the USSR, that was off the books. So
Off the books.
So
Architecture
was
also not easy. also not easy. I started with, it's a long story, but my parents originally didn't want me to go to Moscow alone, to study there.
Right.
So I went to an engineering school for a year in Kiev. It was an evening school, and I quit it. And then I went to Moscow. I kind of rebelled. That was my rebellion.
That was your rebellion.
And I went to Moscow, and Moscow Architectural Institute was a very, very prestigious, very small school. We had 12 people per each place available, and that was after portfolio review.
Right.
So portfolio review already weeded out a lot
Right.
of people, but after portfolio review, there were exams and all of that stuff. So I fought for that. It wasn't
Yeah. Wasn't even right. It wasn't given to you.
wasn't given to me.
Yeah. You
And
earned
then-
it. You earned it. You really
Yeah.
earned it.
And then when I came to this country, a lot of people were telling me that architecture is not going to work out. And a lot of creative people who came to this country went into computer programming,
Right.
and I kind of didn't.
You rebelled.
Again.
Good. Good. Thank you.
Again.
We're the beneficiaries of that.
Thank you.
So, did you have to train here? Did you have to pass?
I had to pass the exams. I had to, to get an architectural license, you have to work at the time 3 years under a licensed architect, and then you pass the exams.
Oh, but you didn't have to go through all the
I
training
did
again.
not go through the training again because I had my diploma again, because it was such a good school.
Right. It was prestigious enough.
It was recognized, and it was. I had a professor at Yale University go through my transcript and write that I qualify for the exam.
Right.
So we had it translated from Russian to English and all of that stuff. So that's my story. Now tell me about orange. Why orange? Why color orange? It's not
Why
like
the color
Ukrainian orange revolution in 2014.
No. I don't think there's any deep. It's a bright color, and it's not yellow.
Yes.
And it's not green, and it's not red. Red has connotations. Yellow also has connotations. I don't know. I just gravitated to orange.
Orange.
It's
a little rebellious.
It's a little rebellious, but it's not. It's red. It comes with
red flag.
Well, red is either red lipstick or red high heels. Is one side of that's one side of red.
Communist red.
And then there's communist red. Yeah, red has a lot of. And yellow is the sun. It's too. I don't know. Orange. I just gravitated to orange. So yes, the title
sunset,
sunrise, magic hour,
sunrise, sunset.
So the podcast is called Orange Socks Podcast, and the reason is that there's this painting. This is originally a painting. It was 10 inches tall, 30 inches wide.
I saw it. Yes.
But if you look carefully, one of the gentlemen are wearing orange socks.
Ah, yes.
And that's what it's all about. So that's me. That's my orange socks.
Yeah, he's just like all the other Orthodox people, but he's a little bit different.
So yes, absolutely, because everyone gets to interpret art as they see it. The way part of it kind of grew a lot broader than the piece when I actually created it, but it's about personalizing your journey. It's about making your own journey your own.
Yeah.
And within an Orthodox journey, often we look the same.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we are, carbon copies of each other, that we are indeed the same. And the difference doesn't have to be, he's not going in a different direction. He doesn't have dreadlocks and ponytails and tattoos, and he doesn't need to do, I don't need to do all that.
You don't need to do all this
in order to define my individuality. It could be subtle, it could be small, but it's a reminder, maybe to me and to the outside world, that I'm on my own journey. I'm my own person. My Judaism is my own.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing it proudly. I'm not doing it because it belongs to someone else, and I'm not, as your mother was, begrudgingly. I'm very glad that this is my journey, and to be, as I said earlier, I was a rabbi for 10 years. Starting before that, I was a Chabad rabbi.
Yeah.
No, but way before that, my mother I was born in Darwin, Australia.
Ah,
So my parents were hippies.
oh, cool.
And we went on a long journey. We came to Crown Heights and the Rebbe and so on. And so I have these two polar energies of, the wild hippiness.
Right.
And then, we ended up spending 4.5 years in Crown Heights. We were supposed to just be passing through. And the Rebbe said, we wrote to the Rebbe for a blessing to keep going. And the Rebbe said, stay here for the time being and accomplish what you're here to accomplish. We stayed for 4.5 years. So after that time, this circumstance, it was wonderful. I marinated. I lived in Crown Heights and sat under the Rebbe's feet and got dollars from the Rebbe. And that community, the energy and the joy of Judaism, it was overwhelming. And I really lived it. These are formative years. And when we went back, circumstance changed. The Rebbe gave us a blessing to go back. We never made it to Israel. But as I grew up, as a teenager, I thought, what did the Rebbe want? So many people came through. They got a blessing. They continued on their journey. What did the Rebbe must want something from me? So what could it be? What could be greater than serving as a rabbi, sharing my love of Judaism with others? Yeah. And so I did. So for 10 years, I worked together with Mendy and Malki, right there in their building, in their beautiful center. And on the side, photography was my form of expression. And photography, it was wonderful. And then I felt like I was missing something. I was getting to the end of photography. Photography is a lot broader. It's not. Yeah. I was lacking, not photography, but I discovered silkscreen, and my drawing at the time was very limited. I was kind of almost scared to draw, of doing it wrong or whatever that is. But silkscreen was a way of, okay, I can take photography and I could manipulate it and turn it into a screen, and I could print it. I could create, and that was my gateway drug. So from silkscreen I went to a class in abstracts and so on, and I got to a point that I couldn't do both. And this is already 7-8 years of working as a rabbi there. And Mendy very gently gave me a choice. Says, you're in, you're out.
And you decided to go.
And after a lot of soul searching,
soul
searching, I came to the conclusion that what I was doing as a rabbi in Chabad, I could hand that to someone else, and they could take the baton and they could keep running.
Yeah.
But my art, nobody else can do my art for me.
Yeah.
And so, Baruch Hashem, I'm a full-time artist,
right.
And my ideas keep getting bigger, like the architecture school in Kiev. And some have been built and some have not yet been built, but I'm optimistic and it's growing.
There is a lot of stuff we all do that doesn't go anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
That's
part of it.
That's part of it. It's a process.
And then we'll pick pieces
from
different things to...
I actually use a lot of my old paintings. I tear them apart and I reuse them in the new stuff.
Wow.
In new art. Because, you kind of create something and then you look at it 10 years later and you say, well, this part here is kind of interesting, but the rest of it is,
right.
I'm not proud of it anymore.
So someone said beautifully that if you look at old work and you're not disgusted by it, you're not growing. So yes, you look at okay, but that part,
that part's okay. I might actually use it somewhere as a piece of texture or it's kind of, it's my method basically.
I like that. It's a good idea. It's visually a good idea and conceptually it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Those. So how do they live together? Your architecture and your paintings.
Well, when I started in architecture here in this country, I went through several periods when I was hired and fired. It was the time when things were difficult in architecture, early 80s. Architectural firm would hire architects for a few months when they had a project. And firms were very little. We were in West Hartford. Firms were little. They would hire architects for
one project.
For one project. The project ends.
That's it.
You go. Right. For me, it was devastating because my parents worked all their lives
in the
same place.
Right.
Or if they wanted to change, it was their choice.
Right.
To be fired, to be laid off.
Right.
I mean, and I'm such a good girl. I'm a good girl. I try. I really try.
Right.
So that process, and then you collect unemployment, which is in itself is. I mean, now I don't know how it works, but there you had to go to the office, you had to explain why you're not working, and that. But
it's also it's an attack on your personality, on your capacity as a person.
Yeah. So I had periods when I wasn't working, and in those periods I went back to doing art as kind of a therapeutic process for myself, and kind of seeing what could I do. I was very naive. When I had my first show in Hartford, and I sold a piece of art for some ridiculous sum of, I don't remember, $300, something ridiculous like that. I thought, gee, if I could produce art like this, say in a week. If I could make $300 a week, I don't have to go back to work. I could live, right? Because, we already had a child, and my husband was starting in his profession, and he was going to school at night. And it would have been much easier if I was staying at home and doing art. Right. It would make all our lives bearable.
Easier. Bearable.
Yeah, it was a survival, basically.
Right.
But one thing is to find the shows, which I could. And the other thing is to sell the art, which I couldn't. So that was kind of like a struggle between trying to do art and going back to architecture. And architecture at that time, the offices I worked, as a junior architect without license at that time still, I was given very boring work.
Right.
I wasn't excited about it.
Right.
So I kept going back to art whenever I could. And I kept going back to it when I went on my own many years later. Because again, in your own business, you have a lot of projects and you're doing very well. Then there is a slump.
Quiet times, yeah.
Quiet times, I could do more art. And I just, I just found my rhythm in that symbiosis between two disciplines. So that's how I continue. Right now, I have a little more time for art than I used to. So I'm doing a little more of that. And if I ever transition to retirement, if that ever happens, then I'll do art only.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
how it works.
That's a wonderful balls to be juggling.
Yeah.
When you are involved in an architecture project, is it fully consuming, or it's a very slow, gradual process?
It depends on the project. When I was doing for like 20 years, I was only doing or mostly doing large-scale development in New York City with a couple of Jewish developers.
Right.
And when I was involved in that process, everything was boom, 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 because as soon as they buy the property,
they want to get moving. Yeah.
They need to get moving, otherwise they're losing money. So I was on a very tight schedule always. Right. So in those 20 years, only when the project finished and next one didn't begin, but otherwise it was very involved. Right now, I have a few projects that I could juggle and have art at the same time, especially with clients who take a long time to think, to, they see preliminary plans, they take time to make a decision.
Right,
So
so
you could do some stuff in
in
between.
between. Good,
Yeah.
good.
So
It's a good balance.
that's how it works.
How does your Judaism play into your creativity? I mean, what was it like? What was it like being Jewish in the USSR? That's
Well, we were Jewish, but not religious.
Right.
None of it. I've been thinking about Judaism, and I'm convinced that we all want to be creative because God was creative. So creativity comes from Judaism. Period.
right, right.
So that's number one. Number two, it's hard to divide art into Jewish art, non-Jewish art.
Yes, sure.
There are millions of really great artists who are Jewish and not doing art that could be considered thematically or in some greater sense Jewish art.
Right,
They're doing art being Jewish.
right, right. Yeah.
I did one project which was kind of, no matter how you look at it, it's a Jewish art. That was the series of paintings that I did for Chabad in New Jersey.
Yes.
That I did 30 paintings, and they all were depicting the Jewish history, starting from Torah times, like from pre-Torah times.
Right. So this is a big project because
Yeah.
you were doing the architecture for this building for Chabad in Basking Ridge. And did Malki commission you to create these paintings? Was this your
No,
idea?
how
Was
it
it her
worked
idea?
out.
How did this evolve?
I'll tell you exactly how it was. Malki likes to tell the story, but the story is like that. She knew me through Darren's.
Right, right.
And she kind of saw me more as an artist because I also painted Aron Kodesh doors for Chabad here. She saw me as an artist. Malki has been thinking about Jewish timeline for many, many, many years.
Yes.
It was very important to her. And when she interviewed me, she said, well, we need to do a Jewish timeline for the new sanctuary, right? And I thought about it and I said, and she was thinking about a piece of art.
Right.
We do a piece of art with Jewish history. I said, Malki, this is such a rich subject.
There's so much there.
There is so much there. I cannot fit it in one piece of art.
Right.
I can do a series of paintings that go through Jewish history. And I can design for you a building to accommodate that series of paintings.
Oh, so that's the only reason why the building is there.
That's the
building is there to hold the paintings.
Hold the Malka's vision of Jewish history. That's why the building is there.
There you go. That's beautiful.
And I said to her, if you hire me as an architect, I donate the art. That's how we worked it out.
Oh, wow. I like that.
So that was the deal,
Okay.
and we worked with it for many years.
Right.
It took a process. I can't even say exactly, but at least 5 years or
Right.
maybe more.
Back and forth.
And COVID, which
wow.
which kind of helped my art because architecture was on standstill for a while.
Right.
So that was with Malki. And that was a very interesting learning process for me.
Okay.
Because while we were going through Jewish history, I was reading about it, I was studying. Malki helped. I went to classes with Rabbi Levi.
Right.
So
that's not your introduction to Judaism at all. I mean,
it's not introduction to Judaism. My introduction to Judaism was when we came to the United States and we started learning about it. And then with Rabbi Darren, when he was building his shul, we had a lot of conversations and so I have been dealing with rabbis for a long time now. And even my clients in New York, they were all Lubavitchers. So
oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
Boiled milk greens, you know, boiled milk greens.
I've heard the name, sure.
Yeah, boiled
sure.
milk greens, Heatrick,
Okay.
all of those guys I
Okay.
worked with. Yeah.
So they found you, you found them. You.
Oh, the way I found them, I don't know. That's not quite. It was in few words. The way I found them was through a black developer from Jamaica.
Okay.
He was my introduction to Crown Heights.
Okay. Okay.
Because he had a partner from Crown Heights, Yankel Pinson.
Okay.
He introduced me to Yankel Pinson.
Right.
And that's how, you know, that's how I came to know.
Right. Beautiful.
That whole.
That works.
It works, yeah.
And from there to the rabbis and so on.
And from there to Rabbi Darren and to everybody else. I'm sorry, my eyes are running.
You're okay.
Allergies are killing me.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So
but in addition to painting and sculpture, you also have public art. You have painting and architecture. You have sculpture. You have
sculpture. I had a long-running project with a friend of mine called Wave, where we had people cutting pieces of polycarbonate film, and we were assembling them into sculptures, basically installations that were kind of our way to attract attention to importance of environment, water,
right.
and involving people in libraries and museums. We were in 21 places with that project.
With this project.
Yeah. So that went for years. We stopped it before COVID. We were basically a little bit bored with it. So
right.
It just went for too long. Every time you come somewhere, you have to, you know, it's working with crowds is the different story.
Yeah.
You do that kind of stuff.
I do that. But as you're saying, there's the joy, the excitement of creating something for the first time and birthing it into life. But having to redo the same thing for a different crowd.
Well, it wasn't the same because we would always hang it in a totally different way.
Right.
One time it was like a cube. One time in a museum in Atheneum in Hartford, we did it as a waterfall in their lobby. So we did hang it completely differently.
You did have some creative freedom.
It did. And also it was interesting to see people when they're just, you know, they're coming, we give them a piece of film which is 12 inches by 24 inches long. And we say to them, you just cut a wave, whatever way you imagine that wave.
Right.
And to see them, you know, puzzling that and then cutting it and then saying, oh, yes, look, it looks good.
Right.
Yeah.
That joy that people have when they've created something that is theirs, but it belongs to the collective, that they're doing something, I'm part of, that's me on the wall. It gives people this excitement.
Yeah, there is that. And I think that the part of doing something abstract art is a very Jewish concept too. Because I think that having our God being abstract,
right.
You know, we relate to abstract thinking,
right.
to abstract concepts,
right.
better than some other people in other cultures.
Right, so we're open to that way of looking at the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And the other thing with Jewish kind of philosophy being a part of the art, that art scene in general, is that the Jews were, I think, international tendencies were part of Judaism. They were not just parochial. They were always kind of, you know, open to give to the humanity. Just last week, I was kind of surprised. We were actually at Rabbi Levi Mendelow's, and we were reading about holiday of Sukkot and how people were doing a lot of sacrifices. And one of the things that really astonished me, that they sacrificed 70 bulls for nations of the world.
Yeah, yeah,
Not for the Jews, but for all the others.
yeah.
And that is amazing in itself. So the art we create, even if it's not thematically Jewish art, but it's for the humanity.
Yeah. So I have a series that I'd love to make that I haven't made. I haven't thought about it in a long time, but really inspired by that. The 70 bulls for the 70 nations.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with my overflowing blessings? So I have a cup.
I have to.
A
Yes,
Kiddush
yes,
cup,
yes,
which
absolutely.
we pour over paint.
I saw it at Chabad with
In Stanford has
in
one.
Stanford
Yes.
with Shem Tov.
Yes, yeah,
With
yeah,
Shem Tovs. I know all the rabbis.
Yes. So that concept, one of my iterations of it,
Yeah.
is I wanted to find 70 vessels, 70 cups, 70 things that represent 70 different nations. So the Irish beer jug, or the German beer jug, and the English teacup, and go through all the nations and find 70 different vessels that represent, and then do this overflowing with their colors. So the Irish colors, and and put it in the Queen's Museum, which is the most multicultural part of New York. But this idea of blessings, the overflowing blessings,
Yes.
for all 70, that all 70 nations, that's the Sukkot was to bless them. So yeah, so
Sounds great. Sounds great. You
it does sound great. I should do it.
You should do it.
It's on the should-do list.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, that's Jewish art.
Yeah,
Looking at it, it doesn't look Jewish.
right. But
Instinctively, it isn't Jewish. It
Yeah.
doesn't look Jewish, but
It's
the
Jewish.
messaging, the meaning behind it,
Jewish.
is Jewish. And I think, there's the classic question: what is Jewish art?
Yeah.
And thank God we don't have an answer for that. There is no cookie cutter answer.
Yeah, and we don't want to be, I don't think we want to be kind of neatly filed into, this is a Jewish artist and this is a woman artist,
Right. Yeah.
like we are artists with,
And we got a lot to.
and we are Jews, we have it, but art is art, and you don't want to be neatly classified, pigeonholed as a,
Yeah.
yeah.
Throughout your career here in the U.S., have you become part of any artistic communities, Jewish artistic communities? Have you found your people, or
No.
even not in the Jewish crowd?
No,
No.
not really. I have artist friends,
Right.
but no, I'm not a joiner. I tried a couple times, but you join artistic community. What it means is that it's a mutual admiration society. Everybody gives each other compliments, and it doesn't really go anywhere. You could participate. I don't like. First of all, I do not like to participate in a show with a lot of different artists who are not aligned. I like to have personal shows.
Right.
Then I could express some continuous
Right.
idea, or even though my art changes every few years, I don't stay in the same vein. But if there is a series of paintings that I see as a continuity,
They tell a story. Yeah.
that have one serious thought about it.
Right.
I want to exhibit them all. I don't want to piecemeal.
No, exactly. I've been invited to certain shows, or like, oh, I'd like to be in that show. I'm like, what single piece of work can I give them that is reflective of me, is reflective of the theme that they've decided for the show to be? And it's cookie cutter. It's cutting a piece out and like, okay, this is what we're putting up, but nothing else. Yeah, it's
right.
divorced of its
and then
context.
People are jumping. In general, people are not really spending enough time looking at one piece of art. If they spend 10, 15 minutes looking at one piece of art, they might get something out of it.
Right.
But if they are going through the show and just kind of like,
Right.
whipping their head, looking at one piece, then at another, then I like that one, but I like that one. No, it's like they don't really get anything out of it. And that's how most people are going through the show.
Yeah. So what's the right way to go to a show or go to a museum?
Museum, you have to choose almost like you have to decide. I'm looking today at one, two, three pieces. You don't go through
Try to
crazy.
get everything done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Unless you just kind of like, unless you already know all of this art and you just
Right.
kind of need to refresh your memory of something.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
It's like the teenagers that go to Europe and, we did 16 countries in 15 days,
Elderly people do the same thing.
But you're jumping around. You don't get...
You don't get
Okay,
the-
you got a stamp on the passport. I went to Switzerland, but what did you get there? What did you experience? What did
Exactly.
So I mean, honestly, to me, it would require a lot of effort to sit for 15 minutes
in front
a
of one
painting.
piece of art.
Yeah.
Well, but that's when we were young and we were going to museum, kind
Right.
of sketching the
Right.
art.
Right.
That made
Right. That
you,
forces you to sit in front of it. Maybe
yeah.
that's easier because
yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing something, or
Well, maybe that's, or maybe you have to like write down what exactly
You're
you
experiencing,
see,
you're seeing,
you're
you're feeling.
experiencing, what you're feeling. Maybe then it would, because I think that in general, we don't see art. We don't really
No,
see.
and with the phone, everything's
Oh yeah,
swipe,
well,
swipe, swipe.
we are very short attention span people now, anyways.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
That's Elena, thank you. I'd like to keep going, but Shabbos is coming.
Shabbos is coming.
But we close out with two questions. So question number one is, who are 3 artists that you'd like the audience to know?
Oh, L. Lisitsky.
Okay.
What
is it?
Russian L. Lisitsky.
Okay.
Jewish Russian constructivist, architect, and artist. Big influence. Tischler, another Russian artist, theater artist. And who would I name as a third? I don't even know. I was influenced by Klaus Oldenburg, but he's not Russian. He's not Jewish.
Right.
we need a Jewish artist.
If you can.
Louise Nevelson. She's Jewish,
Okay.
and she's absolutely unbelievable. You like Louise Nevelson? You don't know Louise Nevelson? Oh my God, you have to.
I have to. Yes.
You have to. Louise Nevelson.
Okay, so we're gonna get links. If you can help me find links to
those
be
three
able to
guys,
find these works, and we'll share it
I don't even know.
We'll share it in the show notes.
I'll take a look. I might be able to find Nevelson. You'll find a lot.
Okay.
The 2 others you may not. They are my young years kind of.
All right, we'll put their names in, and people can do their own research.
Okay.
And the last question we close with is, what's your advice for young creatives for them to find their orange socks?
First of all, not everybody needs to create. I mean, like you could create. I think my father was very creative. He was an engineer. He would invent new. He had 27 patents. I mean, that's a creative outlook.
Sure.
Not everybody needs to be an artist. That's a very important thing. And I think that there was one of the writers, and I don't remember who it was, who had a young artist coming to him and saying to him, well, look at my art. Do you think I should continue or should I stop? The answer is, if you can stop, stop.
If you can stop. Wow.
because art is an obsession.
Right.
It could derail you from good life.
Yes.
From having children. A lot of young artists, not necessarily Jewish, but they are so involved in their art that they delay having families, having children. So unless it's really, really important for you, stop.
And for those that want to keep going?
For those who keep going, give in to your obsession. What can you do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Dive right in. Elena,
Dive right in.
thank you very much.
היום נעשה משהו בלתי נשכח